Construction of the body as an energy vehicle and its energy signature. The journey of exploration into our creativity suggested the need for a different understanding about the human body than it just being a biological system and a mechanical system, and the need for a different interpretation about how we sense energy. The topics were addressed in the discussion: energy signature of the human body and the energy conversion to thoughts. Here we wish to talk about how the body can be seen as a being put together as an energy structure, and given some perspective as to how can the energy signature explain the energy experiences of the body. There is a large diversity as to the types and kinds of energy-based experiences that individuals report. It is known our bodies are chemical systems, and the chemicals ultimately interact based on energetic interactions of the molecules of the body, and some chemicals giving more powerful experiences than others. There is a large diversity of energetic experience. For example, the wide range of phenomena that can be seen as energetic interactions, such as near-death experiences, past life experiences, experiences in other realities, ancient healing, energy healing, spontaneous healing, the mind-body connection, and other similar experiences where the individual's perception seems to transcend what we would call the understanding of the traditional mind. The question is, how does this all come together to give us the human experience? The concept of the energy signature was introduced in the recording Energy Signature. The concept of the energy signature of an object with its many superimposing energy signatures of its component parts creating an energy structure can provide some insights and a way to understand the energy nature of the human body. Then, coupled with how our mind and body can be seen to create resonant cavities that capture and resonate with different energies to give us particular energetic experiences. What is provided here is a way of seeing how these superimposing components come together to suggest a way to explain some of the energy-related experiences of the human body and observations currently being made as to traits seemingly carried in family lineages but not readily explained by one's genes. Before we proceed, here it needs to be remembered that the focus of this recording is directed at empowering our creativity and our creative imagination and uses the creativity perspective. Some of the concepts presented are analogies and serve as pedagogical purposes. One should not assume they are exactly the way creation works, but are effective for our creativity and the exploration of our creativity and of creation. Although these concepts may be used literally in some situations, you are encouraged to see them symbolically. Many energy healers, in addition to having the ability to sense energy, report seeing the organs of the body radiating different energies and individual organs radiating different energies where disease versus health can be seen. Additional healing has been seen to occur with a change in beliefs, which is then related to creating different resonance cavities that can give rise to the body becoming different and heal. These phenomena can be seen as arising from the energy signatures of the component parts and structures of the body. As discussed in the topic, energy conversion to thoughts, our mind and how we think and believe creates a resonant cavity that can capture energy and convert the energy into thoughts. Given the complexity of our energy structure of the mind, body, and creative spirit, the amount of information we can sense, the amount of information stored in our mind and what our mind thinks and believes, and how it can rearrange what it thinks and believes, our mind creates a multitude of different resonant cavities in a multitude of different areas within our mind, body, spirit structure. In this discussion, the mind is perceived as creating the resonant cavities by what it thinks and believes, and the creative imagination interprets the energy into thoughts. Here it is suggested that some of the biological structures themselves, as a result of the energy signature of the component parts, leads themselves to resonate with certain energies independent of what the individual thinks and believes. You could say the DNA resonates with the energy in the environment of the organism to create the instinctive response that is characteristic of many animals. Humans too have such a response, but with the human mind, we associate thoughts with what we sense, and that allows us to consciously act. But nevertheless, within each aspect of our being that captures and resonates with energies beyond what mind creates, we can become aware if we choose to do so. Much of the journey of exploration into our creativity was to look at how we manipulate energy, especially the energy of our thoughts and our actions in the world to create what we do. In this journey of exploration, it became clear that we need to look at the body as an energetic structure which has a unique and dynamic energy signature. Depending on an object's energy signature and the resonant cavities it creates, it can give rise to thoughts or impact the body or cause us to think and believe differently than we normally do. As stated in the discussion on energy signatures, we said each atom and each molecule has a unique energy signature because of all the components that come together to create that structure. Similarly, the body is a very unique, complex energy system. It can be seen as the energy coming from individual organs and structures, or from the whole body, or from other parts of the body, all depending on how we focus our attention and awareness and how we want to look at the body. The process of experiencing the energy of the body is more like having some type of sophisticated radar or photographic system looking down at Earth, and depending on how we focus ourselves, we can look at the trees or a given clump of trees or a given rock formation, or step back in a broad sweeping general view of the landscape and zoom to the level of viewing the continent. If you wish, think of your browser on the computer where you can zoom in and out from a satellite view down to the finest detail. On the browser, one can pick a location and never move the cursor. One can zoom from the satellite down until one can get a street or an intersection and see the crosswalk, the cars, and the people. With certain techniques, we can determine discontinuities in the land such that we can reveal structures long since buried and going back in time. Similarly, the body is an energy structure, and in a very similar way, it has a lot of different components. We can look at the whole or the part as much as like looking down from the satellite onto the continent, looking broadly, or putting a very narrow focus on looking at a very tight location. It is all about stored information in the energy structure of the body, and with the correct techniques we can retrieve the information. What is important here is we can look down at the energy structure of the whole body, or scroll down to a particular location to the energy signature of an organ, or an energy signature of the cell structure, or to the energy signature of a structure within the cell, like the energy signature of the DNA. Each of these levels, the energy signature, can act as a resonance cavity for certain energies that are captured and then interpreted as thoughts by the mind. It all depends on what the mind is open to seeing and experiencing by how it is focused. What we want to address here is the fact that our human bodies are basically the same, but we have unique differences within them. Some of these differences are very subtle and give rise to very different experiences of energy. We all are very unique. In particular, our DNA is seen to give rise to many of our uniquenesses. It has been known for a long time humans are different, and for any human trait or characteristic, the variation within the human population tends to fall within a normal distribution. For any characteristic, some humans fall at the edge of the normal distribution. There are conditions where people have different chemicals being produced, or greater chemicals or lesser chemicals, depending upon how the organs are functioning within the body, and many of the chemicals influencing our experiences cause us to experience physical creation differently than another. Energetically, the different structures have different energy signatures and can resonate with different energies the body senses. These energies are then characterized by the mind to create different thoughts and different perceptions from somebody else. When the energy signatures between individuals is the same and they have similar beliefs, they will have the possibility of similar thoughts. If, however, the energy signatures are different or the mindsets are different, there are different thoughts. Here, education and indoctrination give similar beliefs and a way of thinking that helps normalize perception for a particular profession or social customs. Although the DNA structure is different for different humans, there are similarities in families, but the DNA of the mother and the father is not the same as the child, and the siblings have different DNA. This DNA is an energy signature, and it has an influence on what we perceive in reality energetically. It's been known there are certain characteristics that are passed down through families. Probably most have seen both similar physical characteristics in families and preferences for certain things or ways of being not tied to the family society. Some of them are energetic characteristics. Similarly, there are certain psychic abilities and abilities to work with the unseen energies that seem to be passed on through the genes or through the family lineage for some families, but not others. Over the last few years, epigenetics has been seen as a big factor in human life, where environmental influences can affect the expression of genes, and that genes are not, quote, set in stone. Genes can be switched on or off, especially in early development. Positive experience, supportive relationships, environmental toxins, stresses in life are all being seen to influence how genes unfold. What can be said here is that an individual obtains a set of genes from their parents that is different in a unique energy signature. Depending on the types and kinds of experiences an individual has and their environment, certain genes or portions of genes will or will not be expressed. But whatever genes are ultimately expressed, they will determine how the individual experiences their world, along with the programming they received, which influences what they think and believe, to create resonance cavities, and what they may bring with them from the past experiences that their creative imagination calls upon to characterize the energy they experience and the thoughts. The journey of exploration into our creativity suggests our awareness as expressed in our higher self for what it wants to experience has pulled together the energy components to create a unique physical vehicle in the form of a human being. The question is, what are the energy components has one's higher self pulled together that give rise to what we experience? Now, the gestation period in the mother's womb begins the energetic assimilation of our awareness into the physical vehicle, namely our body. The energetic assimilation is much more than simply our body forming from a fertilized egg according to a biological process. That is, the gestation is more of an end result and symbolism of what is occurring. What is occurring is the assembling of an energy vehicle that is perceived and experienced as our body. The particular energy signature is formed by the coming together of the egg and the sperm. We then become impregnated with the energetic imprints from our mother and her environment when we are in her uterus. The child in the mother's uterus will experience the chemicals in the mother's blood. If there are chemicals of stress, the child receives those chemicals and hence experiences the mother's stress. As the fertilized cell grows, we receive the energetic imprint of our family lineage, of which DNA is only symbolic of something much larger. Namely, all the energetic occurrences which gave rise to the genetic lineage is carried forward in that lineage. That is, we are a composite of all the energy patterns that come together throughout evolution to create the entire process of birthing a human in the form that it is with its particular DNA. In many ways, the body is only symbolic of the dynamic energy patterns fused together to create the being that we are. All of that past is in the final form created from the past is contained in the human aspects of our being. Hence, the need to look at our body symbolically and all that it represents. So even before we are born into the world, we have a profound dynamic energetic pattern that many have tried to describe in a variety of ways. In the literature, some traditions talk about a causal body, a celestial body, an etheric body or template, an astral body, and the like. Currently, individuals talk about epigenetics and turning genes on and off. Yet all these descriptions are only minds conjuring up ideas and analogies of how our creative life energy and consciousness creates the life that it does in the form that it does. Yet, whatever description the humans give it will be incomplete. One of the major realizations in the journey of exploration into our creativity is the human mind is incapable of fully and accurately understanding how creation works. The best it can give is an approximation, and it usually does so through analogies and the proverbial "it looks like" or "operates like," whatever. This energetic signature we carry is beyond what most have understood about being a human. Yet it shows itself repeatedly in experiences of life that our human mind never envisioned for our lives. In an analogous way, trying to understand how the human being arises from all that comes together to create the human energetic being is just like trying to understand how the makeup artist creates the required makeup for many theatrical productions. The process of putting on the makeup for some roles that require the actor playing a role that looks very different from the typical human takes enormous time. This is especially true if one is playing the role of a non-human alien which looks very different than a human. So too the actors in this play of life have simply put on an energy signature that they take and materialize in our human body. The human body in many ways is simply the makeup we use for the role we play and the experiences within that role. In understanding this process of forming the body, we have the option of viewing the body as a physical vehicle or view it symbolically and energetically as representing all the energy patterns which compose it and can be accessed and read with the proper focus. Viewing the body symbolized makes it much easier to understand the mind-body connection and energetic medicine. In essence, the body is the manifestation of what is going on inside our being. Our body is the physical expression of all that we are and have been, but we're not limited to that past. The moment of power is now. Each moment allows us to create something new, never before experienced, or simply repeating the past in a different way. It is realized that the human body pushes us in each moment to be a human unless we die in the moment. However, we still have the choice in each moment to define who and what that human is and how it will choose to respond to the world. It is important to note our brain will restructure itself based upon its experiences and its thinking. It's called neuroplasticity. In making these changes, it is changing our energy signature. The observed neuroplasticity of the brain is that the brain can rewire and rearrange or reorganize itself as the need arises, but it will form new neural pathways in response to experience. Normally, the brain does this in response to injury and disease. We can rewire pathways by how we focus our attention for a long enough time. Whenever we have repeated patterns, behaviors, thoughts, or emotions, the brain has created and reinforces neural pathways. In doing so, the brain is simply responding to changes inside with choices our consciousness has made. But we do have the choice and the ability to create new pathways. What we would like to leave you with in closing this topic is to realize we each carry an energetic pattern that goes back to all the energetic interactions that formed our DNA and our biological structures that give rise to our body. Additionally, we experience all that our mother experienced energetically when we were in her womb. Then, in growing up, we received all the energetic interactions of the world in which we grew up and all the programming we received and what we copied from our caregivers about being in the world. Then our human mind starts to operate and we incorporate what it came to believe and think. Then we have all those experiences since our childhood. On top of all this is all that our creative spirit brought into our life and why it incarnated. Obviously, we are very complex beings, yet we each possess an extremely powerful awareness, and we are not victims to these circumstances. Our awareness has chosen all of these experiences for the experiences they provide for whatever reason we may have had, but we do have the ability to change what we experience. The recommendation is to understand that there is no time but this time, there is no moment but this moment. This moment is the perfect expression of the beliefs that you hold at this instant. You are perfect, and you are a perfect expression of your beliefs. If you like who you are, enjoy life, and have a deep enthusiasm for life and a passion to be, you have found your bliss and you need do nothing. Enjoy it and make a toast and give gratitude to the experience of life and the wonderment of the universe. You already are your heart's desire. If, however, you feel life can be better, then you may want to consider what this journey of life has to offer. And in entering the journey, you may want to enjoy it and make a toast and give gratitude to the experience of life and the wonderment of the universe.